start. What a wonderful day here at Misano. Welcome to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. It's Sunday, which means we already got 2 races in the books and race 3 and 4 ahead of us. And of course, the qualifying. I'm here with Rolf Werner, Managing Director of the ETRA. Welcome back here at Misano. Great to be back. We're ahead of the Innovation Camp. What is this about?
Innovation Camp with a new opportunity to show new technologies, truck technologies, electric trucks, hybrid trucks, bio-LNG, synthetic fuels and so on. It's an opportunity to bring some manufacturers in who are normally not involved in this series.
That sounds really great. And of course, some drivers got the opportunity to test them. I saw them driving around in those electric trucks, for example. So we are in back to future, to sustainable art, of course, here in truck racing as well. Right now, you need to work. Shall we drive you to race control?
Yes, please.
Let's go inside our golf buggy, and we drive Rolf Werner to race control. So, and cameraman Mike also is on board. So you go ahead. So this is the paddock, ladies and gentlemen. And what is really, really good is all the fans are back. Are you enjoying that too?
Yes, we are. You know, 22 was a total disaster due to the COVID-19. Last year it was moitié, it went, and this year everybody is thirsty. The crowd is attending, and everybody is very excited that truck racing is getting back. European truck racing is coming back. Yeah, that's it.
And I can assure you the drivers are thirsty as well. It's really hot in here. And I saw some modifications on the trucks. They're trying to cut in some holes, trying to get the tires a bit more air and a bit refreshing. We are not driving that fast that we've got much air in here, but it's a slow and safe ride, of course, Rolf Werner. You're, of course, organizing this whole journey since a couple of years. What is special about this year?
Well, this year, as I already mentioned, it's back to normality after some very difficult years, and so to make it stable again, to make it a big event for the crowd and for everybody, and also to look forward for more sustainable truck racing also. This is a special year for us also, yeah.
Because the aim is to get carbon neutral, of course, and following a Paris Agreement. So that's really good news from the truck racing here. We are ahead of qualifying 1, which means who will be the first pole setter on this Sunday? Norbert Kisch was leading the pack yesterday, and then he saw the green lights and he saw the checkered flag and got his first win in the books. Race 2 was dominated by Antonio Alberthetti, also routinier, and he did a great job yesterday. Any perspectives? This day is even harder. Please don't run over a spectator. And this is also a quite good motto for all the truck drivers, because at race 1, of course, you have more space, but race 2 is with a reverse grid, so a lot of tension.
Yes, it is like it is. The same today as yesterday. Let's wait and see who is going to dominate the qualifying at the Super Bowl 2. And then again, first race with the normal grid, and second race with the reverse grid. It will be excited and tense today again, yeah.
So I think this is your office here.
Yeah, it is. So I have to leave now, going to race control to provide you with all necessary information during the sessions. Thank you very much.
Thanks for driving. Maybe we can borrow the golf buggy and have a look at the trucks. What do you think?
Yeah, please, take it over.
Thank you very much.
See you later. Thank you.
Rolf Werner will leave the key, and we say goodbye. And now it's our commentators, of course, Jazz and Avi. Welcome, you're back on board today. Here it's very beautiful, sunny, and I hope you're in a good mood too.
Yes, thank you very much, Christina. It's fantastic to be back this morning. A much earlier start for me here in the UK today, but it's great to be here at Misano. And well, to be honest, it's just a wonderful sight to have the championship all in full swing. We've got spectators and fans and everybody filling the paddock once again. And it makes such a difference, like Rolf Werner was mentioning there, compared to obviously the 2020 season, which only had a couple of meetings and was then cancelled, so no title awarded there. 2021 was a reduced and shuffled calendar, but still it was great to get the championship in full swing there as well. This time round, there is no mucking about. Everybody is back to enjoy themselves. and we're all having a fantastic time of it. But what a circuit Misano is, and what a day we had of it yesterday as well. Out in qualifying at the start of the day, it was Norbert Kish taking pole position, his first pole position of the season. He led lights to flag all the way through race 1, but Antonio Albacete and Adam Lachko were providing some of the entertainment in the mid-pack. A bit of an issue at the end of qualifying for Stefan Fast, but it didn't stop him from getting back out there in the race a bit later on. And it was a fantastic win in the first category, in the Promoters' Cup in the second race for Shane Brereton. A bit of argy-bargy later on in the day with René Reiner and Norbert Kish. He and Jochen Hahn working very hard to get past the number 77 machine. René would go on to finish 5th in that second race. Our cameraman got drenched by Stefan Fast, but the weather and the conditions were beautiful all day for the trucks to enjoy. And all the drivers having a bit of a challenge with keeping the tyres in the right temperature, keeping the trucks running at an optimum temperature as well. And it certainly shows that these guys and these vehicles, they need to be very, very versatile over the course of a full day. We have everyone all lined up now at the end of the pit lane, all ready to go. And that is number 4, Jochen Hahn, that is at the front of the queue. Now, last year, in 2021, was the first time that Jochen has actually finished lower than 3rd in the championship in 10 years. The last time he finished outside of that was in 2011. It's pretty incredible to show that Jochen is so dominant in some of these championships. I mean, he's a 6-time champion, so he certainly knows what he's doing. He won it in 2011, 12, 13, 16, 18, and 19, and he's hoping to get back on that top step again. The longest break he's had without winning a championship was, of course, between 2013 and 2016. And now it's the 3rd year since 2019 that we have him competing, so you never know. Can he get it done this time round? Here's Stefan Fast making his way out of the pit lane. Shows you how quickly and how nimbly these trucks can make their way through a paddock, doesn't it? You may need to do a bit of a 3-point turn here, as the trucks often do when they come out of the end of the pit lane at Misano. They still don't have the turning circle of a smaller car, that's for sure. 2 seconds, though, until the green flag is shown, and the trucks will make their way out of the end of the pit lane. And qualifying 2 for race 3 of the weekend will get underway. Jochen Hahn leads them away from number 1, reigning champion Norbert Kish. He and the 23 truck behind him, Antonio Albacete, took 1 win apiece yesterday. Fantastic performance by Antonio. Was his first win since Zolder 2019. It's been over, nearly 3 years since Antonio won a race. And listen to these magnificent beasts absolutely roar their way out of the pit lane. There's the number 14, Jose Rodriguez, number 21 in there as well, which is Thomas Robineau. He got a podium in the Promoters' Cup yesterday on his first appearance this season. Got a top 10 overall as well to go with it. We're on board with Stefan Fast now, who had a very difficult qualifying session yesterday. He got held up with quite a lot of traffic in multiple different sections of the track. He just couldn't seem to find anywhere clean to make a decent run of it. So he's certainly going to be holding back, I think, in these opening stages here. Although I say that, and he's just chucked it down the inside of Jamie Anderson. Another guy that had quite a tough day at the office yesterday. He started 11th in race 1, went on to finish 12th, so he lost 1 position from where he started. He then started race 2 in 12th and finished 12th. So it was a bit of a tough day, like I say, for Jamie Anderson. No points on the board in the overall championship. But of course, he will be trying to chase those points in the Promoters' Cup. They do get handed out separately, so there is an overall championship for the Titan and Chrome drivers, as the 2 classifications are known. But in the Promoters' Cup, you do also get a separate points table. So even if, for example, Teo Calve finished 8th in the first race, or qualified 8th, in the first race yesterday, he actually finished 6th. But because he finished 6th and Shane Brereton finished 9th, that still means that they were classified 1st and 2nd in the Promoters' Cup, and they got their own set of points for that. So it doesn't spread the field out, and it doesn't reward you really in that championship if you get lucky with the reverse grid and then fly away from your competitors further up the order. Here's our wonderful drone down at turn 14 at Curva del Carro. Obviously, the truck's running this shortened and more tight version of that corner just to make sure it's all kept nice and safe. There's a lot of housing on the exit of that corner there on the outside of the circuit, so they just make sure that there's no risk of anybody running wide, destroying a barrier, or damaging any other part of the circuit as well. Plenty of runoff, plenty of space for those trucks to slow down. Norby floors it across the line then and throws the MAN into the chicane for the first time. Jochen Hahn chasing him down, then Antonio Alberthetti. Steffi Halm, another driver that had a really tough day yesterday. She was actually on the reverse grid front row alongside Renee Reiner, but contact with Theo Calve after a couple of corners really threw her down the order, unfortunately. She ended up finishing in 6th place after a good recovery, it must be said, but she would have been hoping for a lot more from the front row of the grid. Maybe even an overall race win could have been on the cards had we have seen her go at full pace throughout the entire race. The field making its way around then in their opening laps. They're just going to try and get a banker lap in here. What you might see is a number of the drivers at the top of the order do one fast lap. They'll be happy with it, and then they'll come and sit in the pit lane until Super Pole. Some of the other drivers that are a bit more on the brink, let's say, of being knocked out will continue on the circuit, do another sort of slow lap just to get everything back to the right temperature, and then go for it again. What you need to remember here is that the top 10 go through to a Super Pole session. So everybody outside of the top 10 gets locked in by this session, and then the top 10 all get a chance to go and change that order. Having reports as well that it's even hotter today than it was yesterday. And it's only 20 to 11 local time in Misano. And I mean, it was baking hot yesterday, so hopefully the trucks and drivers and everybody's equipment can all stay up to the challenge. Look at the way that these trucks stop and really tuck that front end in around there at turn 14. It's amazing, isn't it, to see just how nimble they can be. There's the beautiful Freightliners of Adam Lachko and Theo Calve. Looked like, I think it was Theo's truck in second out of the two there on the road. It had a bit of bodywork coming off. It had that quite a lot of yesterday as well. Now, Norbert Kish puts the first time on the board. It's a 2:02.0. That's very, very fast indeed. That's even quicker than he went yesterday. He was only 51 thousandths of a second clear of Jochen Hahn yesterday, but now he's about 4 tenths clear. Steffi Halm's gone third, only a few thousandths clear of Lachko. Then it's Alberthetti next up. Sasha Lenz goes second. So it's trucks 1 and 2, P1 and 2 at the moment. The pair of them were fighting for last year's championship till the very final meeting, which was here at Misano. Norbert Kish was crowned champion after finishing second in the first race, third in the second race, and then he won the third race on the Sunday, but he got it done on the Saturday night with that third place, finishing ahead of Sasha Lenz, meant that he was crowned champion. Jochen Hahn took one of only 3 race victories last year in that event, winning the second race of the weekend. But now you see everybody slowing it down a little bit here. Just having a bit of an in-lap, if anything, for some of these top runners. Norbert Kish will be very happy with that 2:02.034. That's a very, very fast time indeed. Theo Calve is very, very much sandwiched between Rodriguez and Reiner at the moment. The three of them only separated by 600ths of a second. That's 60 thousandths of a second between those three. And then even behind them, Stefan Faas only just ahead of Shane Brereton. So it's nice and close. Looking down the order, unfortunately, it looks like we don't have Clemens Hecker on track today. He had an issue before the second race with a big fuel leak from the truck, and another technical issue that was an effect of that. And unfortunately, we didn't get him back out on track, and it seems like he's not out there today. So we're down by 1 truck, but it means that we get the whole field on that timing tower on the left-hand side. Part of our improved graphics package for this year, really embracing the blue of Goodyear as they become the title partner of the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And the guys behind the scenes have been doing a hell of a lot of hard work to make these graphics look as good as they do. And I must admit, after a meeting about them the other day, I've been very, very excited since to know exactly what is going to be on our screens. The field make their way around turn 14 then at Curva del Carro into the quick left at turn 15. But you can bet that at least these top 3, Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn and Alberthetti, might be coming into the pits. I'm Surprised to see Albacete slowing down that much, though, because in 6th place, you never know whether you're going to be safe here in these qualifying sessions. On board with Fast, looking there at Rodriguez in front. He currently finds himself 9th and on the way through into Superpole. The drivers that didn't make it through yesterday were Jamie Anderson, Stefan Fast, Shane Brayton, Thomas Robino, Jose Rodriguez and Clemens Hecker. Here is Shane Brayton, hoping for better than 13th, which is where he qualified yesterday. In that first race, though, he did go on to finish inside the top 10 in 9th place, so he got on with the job, that's for sure. And speaking of getting on with the job, Stefan Fast is doing that just now, but as expected, into the pits comes Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn, Steffi Halm in there as well. Looks like Adam Lachko, Andrei Kurzim, Sasha Lenz, Anthony Janiak and Antonio Albacete. There you see the drivers' full names on the left-hand side of your screen there. As Stefan Fast wrangles this machine around Variante del Parco, which is turn 3. Really tries to throw the front end of the truck into the surface and dig in with that front left tyre. There's Teo Calve with definite bodywork hanging off the back of that truck. The reigning double French truck racing champion is a proper young superstar of this series. And with meaning no disrespect to any of the other drivers, he's actually the only driver on the grid that is under the age of 30. Andrei Kurzim is 30 years old. Thomas Robino is 31, but Teo Calve just 21 years old as of the start of this season. The most experienced driver in the field is Jochen Hahn at the age of 47. He's got 614 race starts. Antonio Albacete is going to hit his 500th race start next time out at the Hungaroring. He's 57 years of age coming into this championship, and he's been around in the championship for 25 years. It's been great to see the progress continually of Antonio Albacete. It was such a warm, heartwarming feeling yesterday in the paddock when he got his first win in a couple of years. He really is a lovely guy, is Antonio. And I had to try and remain unbiased from cheering for the British-based team, T-Sport Banao, the team that run the incredible Spaniard. As here is a bit of traffic going on here in the last couple of corners. That was Stefan Fast, and I think that is Rodriguez just in front of us. It is. Just trying to make their way through past Teo Calve, and I think it was Rene Reiner, the other truck in there. Are there any improvements on the board? Have to see as they come around the final corner across the line. Doesn't look like it, to be honest with you. No, Stefan Fast did a 2:05.6. His best lap was a 2:04.5 a couple of laps ago. A number of them coming very close to their best times, but not improving as such right now. And I've heard that Clemens Hecker, thanks to Barbara as always, Henrik Clemens Hecker is actually in the paddock. He's got issues with steering, and because he's missing qualifying, he has to get approval from the stewards to be allowed to start the race. And speaking of in the paddock, well, we've got Christina in the pit lane, actually. It seems like we have a little bit of an audio problem there, everybody, so apologies for that. We ride back on board with Stefan Fast then. He needs to continue to improve here because he's down in 12th position, 2.4 seconds off, and he's actually 0.7 of a second off Rene Reiner, who's the next truck ahead, very aptly, the number 77 machine. So he's got quite the improvement just to climb up one position. However, he only needs to get an extra 60,000ths of a second to go up 3 places if he wants to get into the top 10 ahead of Teo Calve or Jose Rodriguez. There they go around the final corner now. He's got Teo Calve behind him trying to open up that final sector before he goes on for a fast lap. But you can see on the graphic on the left-hand side there, look, all 8 inside that top 10, or the top 8, I should say, in the pits. Everybody else still trying to improve and fight for those positions. And that's what's great about this format here in this qualifying session. is that the drivers really have something to fight for to get inside that top 10. Stefan Fast then in the Tank Pool 24 Racing Scania, one of 2 Scanias in the field. Unfortunately, the only Scania on the track at the moment. Making his way around that first very tight chicane. It's an incredibly complex circuit for these trucks, is Misano. It's most of the time a bike racing circuit, but I've seen GT cars, touring cars, all sorts race around here, but the trucks still make it look like it's actually a very, very wide circuit, to be honest with you. There is Teo Calve with that bodywork still hanging off. I mean, these rear mudguards on these trucks are incredibly tough, but I'm not quite sure how that's come loose. I'm not sure if he did have any contact earlier on. Shane Brayton throws the back end of the truck through the left-hander at turn 6 before making it down to Curva Quercia at turn 8. Stefan Fast running a little bit wide there on the exit. Just clips one of those penalty markers. They are very physical ways of noting where the track limits are. If you do hit them too often, then you do get warnings and, of course, drive-through penalties. Stefan's got very, very deep into turn 10 there. You could see that it just did not want to grip at the front end. He might have overworked the tyres earlier. And tyres are an important talking point, actually, because the drivers that are then going to go through to Superpole don't get chance to change their tyres. You know, it takes a long time to change a tyre on one of these machines to make sure that it's all in place and properly secured again. So the drivers and the teams have to make those tyres last throughout the whole thing, through this first qualifying session of 20 minutes, and then the 10-minute Superpole as well. Stefan making his way up through the gears then. Left at turn 15 into the final corner, Curva Misano. And we're going to go back to Christina in the pit lane, who's got one of our drivers with her.
Yes, I'm here with Adam Lachko. Your team had to work very hard for getting the truck back on track yesterday after the collision. How is it running today?
I think it's good, but it's still not very fast like the guys in front of me. And we must try the better setup and we will see.
Good luck for that. Thank you very much, Adam. Back to you, Chess.
Yeah, it's a shame to see that Adam's still having problems with the truck, but a fantastic effort from the Bagheera Racing team to get that thing back out on track. There's his teammate, Teo Calve, crossing the line. He's still in 10th position. He had Jose Rodriguez there with him, just behind in the number 14. He's actually ahead of him in the order at the moment, but all it'll take is a couple of hundredths of a second improvement for some of these guys, and they will pop up inside that top 10 and knock Teo Calve down and out of it. So he needs to remain out there on the circuit. And there you go, René Reiner has crossed the line and has improved by mere thousandths of a second. As mentioned, he's slotted between Rodriguez and Calve. There's 400ths of a second between them, 40 thousandths. There's 10 thousandths of a second between Rodriguez and Reiner, then 30 thousandths between Reiner and Calve. And that is the difference between getting through to Superpole and not in this scenario. So the beautiful Bagheera ZM Racing Freightliner, well, to put it in pure Queen's English, he needs to get on with it now, does Teo Calve. That mudguard at the back may be actually affecting the aerodynamics somewhat. And we'll see some of these aerodynamics up close now as we go back to Christina.
Yeah, ich bin hier. Okay, Sessions. Sorry, we were talking about my football team, which is playing relegation. So, Sessions, how's it going in the qualifying right now?
What you say? Sorry.
Yeah, how is it going? Wie geht's?
I'm fine, thank you very much. Yeah, we are happy. We are P2 in the qualifying, so now we will see what we can do in the Superpole.
How are you dealing with the temperature?
In this moment, we have no problems. The tires are good at this moment, but how long the other guys drive, the temperature from the circuit goes up, and then maybe we become in the Superpole the problems.
And next time we do see us in the stadium, I think. Thank you, Chess. Maybe you're a football fan too?
Well, I pretend to be, but it's only when Liverpool are doing well. In my household with my dad and my brother, who are both Manchester City fans, it's a bit of a tense time at the moment as they're both fighting for the Premier League title with only, I think, one game left to go. Liverpool on to do the quadruple this year, which I'm very happy about. But as soon as Liverpool start losing, I'm not interested in football. People call me a glory supporter, but I've always supported Liverpool, even though I'm actually closer to Manchester than anything. Anyway, we have the trucks now making their way round to potentially start their final laps. But sometimes these guys, they really put a lot of hard work into these tyres. They really build the engine temps up, and they can't quite get them back into a window where they're comfortable with it and then improve on their lap times. So we may see some drivers now give it up, unfortunately, and come into the pits. One driver that's not giving up, though, is Jose Rodriguez in the number 14 machine. He's made occasional appearances in the championship since 2010. And interesting fact, actually, at Harama in 2016, Jose was on track in this championship with his father and his son. And it was the first time in history there had been 3 generations of one family on track together during a competitive event. It's fantastic to see that the racing blood runs through the veins of the Rodriguez family, and it's great to have Jose with us again. He won the Promoters Cup Championship in 2017 as well, so he's got the pedigree there to do well in this series, and he's currently the highest placed Promoters Cup driver on the grid as well. As I believe we can go back down to Christina once more.
Yes, absolutely. We are not talking about football again. We're here with Andrei Kurzem. There's a bit wind coming up, maybe cooling down the tires a bit. How are the options for you?
Yes, at the moment no problem for us, but I think if we go to race 2, we have to manage some of the tires, and yes, it's very difficult here.
What is challenging as well, besides the weather?
Yes. It's very hot today, yes, and hopefully we can manage all the things, and we do good races here.
Thank you very much. Good luck for that. So I think the teams are doing really well, standing here in the shades. Shades for you, Chaz, in the commentary booth?
It's actually quite a nice sunny day here in the UK, but I'm fortunate enough that in the morning the sun doesn't sort of bake me to death through my window, to be honest with you. It's nice and cool in the office right now, but this afternoon, if the sun does keep up, it'll be a very, very hot afternoon for me, as I'm sure it will be for the drivers as well. Teo Calve has improved on his lap time and moved back inside the top 10. Great stuff from Teo right at the very end of the session here, as he now becomes the highest placed Promoters Cup driver in that top 10, as you see there highlighted by the green shading on the left. That means Rene Reiner has dropped down out of the top 10 and out of Superpole right at the end. Stefan Faas, who we look at here in the 24 Scania, really pushing on hard. There is Jochen Hahn preparing himself to go out into yet another Superpole for this season. Last season, he and Norbert Kish were the only drivers to get a pole position all season. He got 3 of them. Norby got 9. So Jochen was proving to us time and time again that his qualifying pace was there, although that goes in with the 66 pole positions that he's got in his career. So he's certainly not shy of getting the front row. He's ahead of Antonio Albacete by just 4 pole positions in that regard. Norbert Kish, despite half of the starts of Jochen Hahn, has got 35 pole positions already, make that 36 after yesterday. Stefan Faas then into the final couple of corners. It looks like he's on quite a good lap. He's a tenth or so quicker than some of the drivers ahead of him in the opening 2 sectors. Let's see what he can do. Is it an improvement? I'm afraid it is not. It's a 2:05.2 that time round. He lost a bit of time in the final sector there, about 8 tenths off the fastest final sector, which was set by Norbert Kish. All 3 sectors actually being set purple there by the Hungarian. As we have a look at his MAN now, the beautiful fire red Reves Racing machine. I love how the decals go up onto the windows as well. I really think it's a great looking truck, that machine. And you can see there that honeycomb pattern that's sort of cut out of the front of the MAN to help the aerodynamic flow over the tyres. It was brought in partway through last season, that modification, and it looks amazing, but it also really helps give that truck a little bit more front end. Here's one of our beautiful drone shots as well. Fantastic work by the guys here to get the drones all working and shooting these incredible pictures that we've been treated to this weekend. It really adds an extra dynamic to our broadcasts and to the weekend. And a driver that's adding an extra dynamic to the weekend is this man, Jose Rodriguez. We saw him a moment ago, and we're going to be seeing him again in just a few minutes because he is now into the Superpole session for the first time this season. He qualified 15th on the grid for race 1, and that meant he was then 11th on the grid for race 2 after just missing out on the reverse grid positions. And now he will, well, it's guaranteed he'll have his best grid position of the season. There is Antonio Albacetti's race-winning number 23 machine from yesterday, the T-Sport Banau truck, doing a mega job. And there is the fantastic as ever Tim Frost standing by, waiting to give direction on what Antonio will be doing and when he's going to be going. And there is our incredibly scenic and incredibly beautiful Misano. It's a fantastically located circuit, wonderful hills and scenery and countryside all around it. And it's not far from the beach either, I can tell you that for free. We'll zoom over to the right-hand side now and you'll see. Or maybe not. But it is incredibly close to the beach. It's only, I think, about 1 kilometre from the beach. A lot of the hotels that the drivers and teams stay in are only about 400 metres from the sea when you stay on the east coast in Misano Adriatico. I'll be there in a couple of weeks, actually, as I commentate on Clio Cup Europe, which is making a visit to Misano. It's a circuit, actually, in terms of European circuits that I've been to, it's the one I've actually visited most. There in Italy, there is the beach, and look, there is the motorway in the bottom of your shot. That shows you just how close we are to the beach. So when you're done with all the hard work at the circuit, it's not quite a long slog to go and top up on your tan and get the flip-flops out and maybe go for a dip as well. You can see the wonderful karting circuit as well there, which is being used this morning. But onto the much bigger stuff. The big old beefy trucks here. In number order for the top 3 at least. 3 drivers that were up there fighting for the championship last year. Adam Lachko has continued to wear his number 55 for this season. If he was to adopt the number where he finished in the championship last season, he'd be wearing number 3. He only took 1 overall race win last season, did Adam Lachko, but he was the picture of consistency, finishing every race in the championship. And in only 3 of those races, from what I can see, he was outside of the top 5. Unbelievable consistency from him. He was on the podium in 4 of the first 5 races. One of them got cancelled, so technically, for the first 4 races in the championship, he finished 3rd. He got a big bunch of podiums in the middle of the championship, and then unfortunately here at Misano was actually his worst meeting overall, with 2 5th places, a 6th and a 7th. But still, held on for 3rd in the championship. Jochen Hahn wearing the number 4 this season. He only stole that 4th position away from Antonio Albacetti in the very final race meeting. Antonio having his worst result of the season in the first race at Misano, finishing in 13th place. The only time all season he didn't finish in the points as well. Jochen had a bit of a tough run of it earlier on in the championship. 2 retirements at Most, and a 12th and an 11th at Zolder, and a retirement at Harama as well. Really put pay to his championship chances. There is Stefan Fass making his way back through the paddock, the much busier paddock than we've seen it in previous years, and it's great to have right opposite the Goodyear FIA Innovation Camp there. Wonderful, wonderful place. Plenty of technologies, and like we heard from Rolf Werner earlier on, a lot of different synthetic fuels, bio-LNG, electric trucks, all sorts on display for the fans to enjoy there. Not just, of course, for the trucking industry itself, but truck racing as well. Technologies that we can embrace here. All of these racing trucks actually run on 100% renewable HVO diesel as well. So it's a big, big step forward in terms of making the championship carbon neutral by 2038. As per the Paris Agreement, the championship has dedicated itself to be completely carbon neutral by that point. And it's an amazing step in an industry that, you know, is known for drinking diesel as it goes. A number of wonderful slogans have been painted and designed all over the number 24 truck quite a lot. Well, there you see it, though. 100% renewable HVO diesel powering all of our race trucks. There is a black smoke rule in the championship as well, so if the trucks do emit a lot of black smoke and a lot of fumes, then they will be given a chance to come into the pits, make any adjustments they need to, and then go back out on the track. But if they are still emitting said fumes, then they will be black flagged from the race, and the championship does not want to know. And to enforce something like that, you know, I think is fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and really shows the commitment to that level of keeping the championship as clean as possible throughout the season. So the field makes its way then through turn 14 once more. Everybody lining themselves up for another fast lap. And Norbert Kish leading the train, as he very often does here in this championship. There is Teo Calve in the pit lane. He's still waiting to go out here, obviously trying to cool the truck down somewhat after being out on pretty much every single lap of that first session. They're probably going to wait for the field to make its way past before he then leaves the pit lane. It's a very, very long pit lane here at Misano, so he's got quite a lot of time to do it. Norbert Kish then throwing the MAN into turn 1. Look at the body language of that thing, really moving around, almost scraping that front bumper off the ground. They still do roll quite a lot to these machines. You have to take that into account when you're driving them to absorb a lot of the energy. You can hear tyres screaming for mercy there. The front left's getting absolutely destroyed around this first section because the initial turn into the first chicane, hard on that front left, and then turns 3, 4, and 5, all very, very hard. And then it gets a little bit of a break through turn 6, turn 7, and turn 8. Then you've got another hairpin at turns 9 and 10. The final couple of corners as well, hard on those tyres at 13 and 14. This is not a circuit for the faint of heart. I think you'll all agree, though, that the number 1 machine looks very, very good indeed, not just in its body language and the way that it seems to behave around those corners, but just the design of it as well. Sascha Lenz's beautiful SL Truck Sport 30 machine as well this season, looking very striking. He ran a bit of a brighter green last season, but this time it's got these big metallic green splats up the side of it. Looks very, very tasty indeed. There's Antonio Alberthetti just going through our shot into turn 9. The unmistakable Lion Truck Racing machine behind him of Anthony Janiak, number 66. There's Norbert Kish then through turn 12 into the kink at turn 13. Hard onto the brakes while trying to balance the truck on the way in. You see Sascha Lenz there sort of wobbling the truck on the brakes there just to get a feel for how it was behaving and then throwing the steering into the right. Adam Lachko goes through as well. Good to see Adam still on the pace despite having issues with the truck. They did say that last year here the Freightliner was not quite the truck to be in. It didn't behave as well as they'd wanted it to. And looking at Adam's record here last season, it was a 5th, 6th, and a 7th. Teo Calve, well, he had a second place overall in the second race, which was mega for him, but then retired from the latter 2 races after contact. And he was not a happy bunny. A 2:02.0 once again for Norbert Kish, though. Great first lap once again. Jochen Hahn second at the moment, 2:02.5 exactly, and then a 2:03.0 for Sascha Lenz. Adam Lachko 4th, then Steffi Halm, Antonio Alberthetti, Andre Kurzim, Anthony Janiak goes 8th, and then we have Jose Rodriguez, but we wait now to see what Teo Calve can do when he gets onto a fast lap. He's the only driver not to have put a lap on the board yet. And Sascha Lenz is under investigation for track limits, I've been told. So we'll have to see whether that lap time stands and whether he holds on to his current 3rd position or whether he has to go and do that again. They will now have their sort of slow down lap as we get. Then they'll try and line themselves up for another go to potentially improve. Drivers that will definitely want to improve there are Alberthetti and Anthony Janiak, actually. He qualified 5th yesterday for the first race ahead of Sascha Lenz, Steffi Halm and Teo Calve. So he's going to want to improve, knowing that the potential is there. And we've had a lap deleted. Just trying to figure out which one of them that was actually there, because Sascha Lenz's time is still there, but I've been told his time is going to get cancelled as well for track limits. And it was Andre Kurzim that has had a lap removed as well. And there goes Lenz's time. So we're down to 8 times on the board now. Kurzim's time actually reinstated. I think they might have just got the wrong one. It's easily done. It's technology. It's a pain in the backside sometimes, isn't it? So Sascha needs to, well, as we say here in the UK, needs to pull his finger out and get on with it. The pressure is very much on right now. And the big old black and green MAN, which took 4 race victories last season, is going to be right up against it now with only a couple of minutes left in this session. 11 podiums last season for Sascha Lenz, and it did come down to the very final race meeting for him to challenge Norbert Kish for the title. Sasha in his career has 9 race victories, 36 podiums, only 2 pole positions though, from 195 starts. He's going to be hoping to try and challenge for the title this time round, and that 10th career victory surely is right around the corner. There you see Lenz puts the time on the board, but obviously it was a slow lap, and by slow lap, it probably seems like a bit of an understatement, to be honest. 45 seconds off just shows you how much they really do cool it down and dial it back for these sort of in-laps and cool-down laps. Almost an extra third of the lap time added on. As across the line goes Teo Calve, he goes 7th fastest now in the Freightliner, so ahead of Janiek, Rodriguez in there as well. Good to see Jose make it through to Super Pole, though. It's always nice when we get a different mix of drivers making it into there. But as ever, Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn, Sascha Lenz, the first 3 on the road at the moment. Sascha Lenz a little bit more under pressure than the rest. There is the legend himself, Jochen Hahn. I've read out the stats a lot of times this weekend as Norbert Kish has decided to abort this fast lap. You can see he's pulled over to the left-hand side there. Not sure if he's got a problem or anything, but it looks like he's just waiting for the rest of them to go through. He might try and go for one final lap right at the end here. He's just staying out of the way to not impede anybody's times. Still has a minute left to go, so I think he should have time to get round and give it a crack. There is the very, very quick SL Truck Sport 30 machine. They'll be doing 100 miles an hour as they get through the kinks at 11, 12 and 13. The trucks are governed to 100 miles an hour here in the championship. You may see penalties and warnings for overspeeding throughout the season. There were 2 trucks actually yesterday given for overspeeding. Andre Kurzin was given a drive-through that was then converted to a 30-second penalty. Anthony Janiek was given 10 seconds for overspeeding as well. So they have to make sure that they do not exceed 100 miles an hour. If they're in the slipstream of another truck and try to sit at that 100 miles an hour, it's obviously a lot easier for them to exceed it. So you have to be very careful, and you won't see trucks slipstreaming one another here in this championship. If anything, all it does is heat the engine up even more. Sascha Lenz has gone 3rd then. He's still a second off Norbert Kish. That time is absolutely blistering from Norby, especially in these conditions. All the drivers have been saying that there's not really any grip on the circuit this weekend. And the clock ticks down to 0. The checkered flag will come out. Antonio Alberthetti has improved into 5th position. Anthony Janiek has also improved and gone up to 7th, which puts Calve down to 9th, Rodriguez 10th, Kurzim 8th. Are we going to see any more improvements, though, before the session closes? I think everybody's pretty much completed their laps. Yeah, Calve and Rodriguez are having a slow second sector, so they've slowed it down. So it looks like for the 2nd time this season, and the 2nd time in as many qualifying sessions, it's going to be Norbert Kish that puts it on pole position. There's a number of our fans. Great to have them all back out in their masses in the grandstands once again. Looks even more full than it did yesterday. Steffi Hallman, Adam Lachko on your screens right now. There is the gorgeous Freightliner. I absolutely love those things. It's a proper good-looking racing truck. That interesting little detail as well, actually. I'm not sure if we'll see it in as much detail as as I would like anyway, but it's got a red, you can sort of see it halfway down the cab. There's a thin red stripe that goes all the way around their design and goes down the nose of the truck. But every single race meeting that they have, in that red stripe that goes down the nose, they include the flag of the country that they're traveling to, and then the name of the circuit and the date of the race meeting as well. And they change that for every race meeting throughout the season. It's completely unnecessary, but absolutely wonderful attention to detail from the Bagheera ZM Racing team. They did it last season as well, actually, and I only noticed it when I was stood right in front of the trucks here at Misano at the end of the season. But they take great pride in the presentation of their trucks. All of the teams in this championship do, and they work very, very hard on them indeed. And again, look at the angle there, the camber and the caster angle of that front wheel. Look at how it leans in and out of the bodywork, dependent on the steering lock that goes into it, just to maintain that big contact patch with the road. The size of the turbochargers, the engines, They're 13-litre engines in this championship. Humongous radiators and water cooling systems as well for the brakes. They may have a lot of real estate going on behind those cabs, but there's certainly a lot of technology that goes into keeping these racing trucks in top condition. But Norbert Kish takes his second pole of the season. A very, very well-deserved one at that as well. A lap time of 0.087 in these conditions is very, very impressive. Jochen Hahn wasn't too far off, though. 0.4 of a second. He was then 0.6 of a second clear of Sascha Lenz, who was able to pull a lap together by the end of the session after having his first one deleted for track limits. And the rest of the trucks will now make their way into the pit lane or into the paddock via scrutineering. You can see a flock of fans as well on the rooftop here at Misano. Again, a great place to watch the racing from, a wonderful vantage point. All of the various media centres, race control, and all the offices are just below there in the reflective windows. And as you see, we've got a couple of them just filtering through. We'll go back down to Christina, though, who is going to be waiting and standing by for our pole sitter, Norbert Kish.
Yes, indeed. It's waiting and standing. This is a reporter's life sometimes, and also for our cameraman. Shout out to all of them. But we can see if the door will open right now. Oh, he needs to get back on this to check the weight. They're taking it off. And right now, I think he's clear to go for a spectacular interview. No, I'm just kidding. But we want to hear, of course, Norbert Kish. He was leading the pack yesterday, and then after Superpole, dominating the Superpole, he was also dominating the race. And I want to know if that may be his plan today. I suppose it is, but let's hear some more insight. So, Chaz, if you don't mind, I will give back to you just a second, because Norbert needs a little bit more space and time.
Yes, indeed. These drivers often do need a little bit of time to cool down themselves, but straight into scrutineering, straight on with it. And there's one of our marshals stood out on the circuit. Maybe he's seen debris or some sort of fluid put down somewhere that needs to be checked up on. We saw a number of them yesterday putting a little bit of cement dust down on the circuit to make sure that the surface was still nice and safe for everybody. Look at how full the paddock is. All of the show trucks as well there, just on the left-hand side of his shot. There's an incredible nightlife around these race meetings too. There was lots of disco lights. The drinks were flowing as well. Everybody was enjoying themselves. They show off these, what must be described as absolute masterpieces of trucks. Hundreds of thousands of pounds and euros go into making these things look as good as they do. The community behind it and the drivers are so, so proud of it all. And we'll go back down to Christina now, who I believe will be with Norbert Kish.
Because all the team from the scrutiny is meeting up and they're discussing a lot of things. So this is why we need to wait for Norbert Kish, and I will ask him what this is all about. Of course, the team of the scrutiny, they're taking things seriously, and this is, of course, really good to have them here so that everyone will have the same conditions, of course, all the trucks. Because, of course, you can see in the shape of the trucks, we're really different, but some rules are the same for everyone. Let's have a look around, Mike. Just follow me up, because as you have mentioned, has been a lot of a party here. Later on this day will be as well. We're going to see all those trucks coming around. Who are those trucks? They're from the innovation camp as well. For example, the electric trucks. And as you can see, there's several drivers trying to experience those new technologies. And I think we are going to the future with that. Maybe we will see an electric race truck one day. This is a model from Duff right here. Nice color, I think. It's bright yellow. And so this is, oh, I can hear myself over there. My voice is really loud, I think. But this is what's going on right now here in the paddock. So it's really good to see the innovation camp is working really well, driven by some new drivers, maybe future race drivers as well. We will not know. So Norbert Kish still in there, maybe, or he sneaked out through the back door. But I think there's a little more to discuss over there at the team Reves. So Chaz and Ebi, this is it from the paddock right now. Really nice seeing everybody. What pictures do you got?
Well, I'm sure right now we'll have some more wonderful drone shots. We've got our fans in the grandstands as well. Great to see them all out here. And we'll have a quick look over the results of that qualifying session. So the Super Pole determines the top 10. And Norbert Kish is top of the pile once more. Jochen Hahn finishes in second place, 4/10 off, but still, that is within good fighting range for the race ahead. Sascha Lenz is third, just over a second behind, with Adam Lachko in fourth place. Antonio Alberthetti lines up in fifth. He'll be alongside Steffi Halm on row 3 of the grid. Andre Curzim and Teo Calve, 7th and 8th, ahead of Anthony Janiak and Jose Rodriguez, his best starting position of the season, from 10th. Rene Reiner just misses out on Super Pole, 1.6 seconds or 1.7, give or take, off the top spot. Then it's Stefan Fass. Shane Brayton will be looking to move forward after that one. So will his countryman, Jamie Anderson. And Thomas Robineau will line up at the back of the grid in 15th place, with the absence of Clemens Hecker, who we will hope to see in the third race of the weekend a little bit later on. And I just wanted to note as well that earlier we noticed a spare bumper behind Christina that I think, because it's bright purple, belongs to Shane Brayton. But it's often the case, isn't it, down there, Christina, with a lot of body panels and all bits and bobs lying around, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There are lots of bits lying around here. And as you can see, lots of trucks. I think about 200 trucks coming here to Misano, the World Circuit. And it's been an amazing journey seeing them. You might hear the music. It's very loud. And each truck has their own style. So they're competing, honking the horn. And as you have mentioned yesterday, I was able to see some of those trucks, lights on. It was really spectacular to be here at Misano. But what is really spectacular and is important is what are the trucks showing on the grid, of course. And we do see some action, I can assure you that, because race 1 will be taking place soon. Still no Norbert Kish though, but we will have a chat with him ahead of race 1. So this was the qualifying, the Super Pole. Thanks for joining in. Please join us on our social media channels as well for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Day 2 here at Misano. Yeah, it's really, really good. You see all the fans, and I will just, see those guys are dancing around, for example. Have a chat with them of those, and I hope you have a good time too. See you soon.